That's really all there is to the actual animation portion of the tutorial. The rest is going to be a standard export operation. And I'm going to be using a modification to the Pralls export tool, which I will post that link for you so you can download it if you want to use it. Otherwise you can use Pralls exporter, I'm sure, using his technique. So what I'm going to do here is double check my timeline. It's working properly. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the Hypershade view. And you can see here I have two parts. I have the base and the lever. What I want to do is, for my modification, it works off of groups. I'm going to go ahead and group those together. And then I'm going to rename this group what I want the actual name of my model to be. So I'm just going to call it something like the lever. And what will happen is, the way my tool works is it starts with all these top level groups and it makes a model for each one. So if I had another group, it would make a model in its own directory for that, etc. Then the only other thing we have to do with layering is actually create a single layer. I'm going to call it export. And then making sure that I have my group selected, I'm going to right click on export and put add selected objects, and then I can toggle the visibility. So now it's ready for export. So I'm going to open up my export tool. I'm going to make sure I hit default to get my default path set. I'm going to go to animation, and what I want to do is I want to make a new sequence. So I'm going to call this move 1. And I'm going to tell it to start at sequence 0 and sequence end at 30. I hit add, and that'll make sure it exports the appropriate SMD file. Check my settings one more time, and I want to make sure that I have the lever selected here. I'm going to hit compile, and it's going to start to compile. And I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second, because the compilation process will take quite a bit of time when you have animation enabled. Okay, when the exporter finally finishes, and again it will take considerable time because of the animation, you'll notice that there was a hash mark over the model that represents that the hash surface. That's all the surfaces that were included in the export. So we're going to make a note of the location of where the export took place. So I take a look at that directory there, and then what I'm going to do is going to open that up in a file explorer, and I noticed that the export automatically created a subdirectory for me, and here is the exported file. So you'll notice that in addition to the standard SMD and idle SMD, I've also have an SMD for the animation sequence that I added. So the last thing we need to do is edit the QC file. So before we compile this QC file, we're going to make a couple changes. My standard modification to Pralls exporter set up for static props, so we're going to undo that. We'll comment that out. Scale 1 is good, up axis 1 is good. Sequence idle, we're going to change this slightly. We're going to make it capital FPS 30, and we're going to name it activity ACT_idle 1, which will be the handle for it in Valve. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy that line, and we're going to make another sequence for move 1. This is going to correspond to the lever _move 1 SMD in the directory there. I don't need the SMDs in this string, and then this is going to be move like so, and then everything else could stay the same. And then this model is ready for compilation, just like any other QC model. And if everything goes as planned, then you open up the Half-Life 2 model viewer. You'll see your model, and then to view your animation, click on the Sequence tab, select Move 1, and that'll start your sequence. You may have to play with the speed here. This lever here changes the speed of the animation. So you can see that exporting animated models from Maya to Valve is fairly easy. Special thanks to Pralls, who did the heavy lifting on the scripts that make all this possible.